So something happened last night, which I think many people, including myself, thought would never happen. 21pilots released the song Drag Path not only on streaming, but also with an accompanying music video. In case any of you are still unclear as to what Drag Path is, it's a song that was released as part of an exclusive digital download with the release of Breach, 21pilots' latest album. The collection was called the Breach Digital Remains. It was available for a very limited time, a number of days, I think 8 perhaps, or maybe 5, and it cost an additional $8. And so Drag Path was sort of an exclusive 14th track to that album, finishing out the story of that album and the story of the lore that they've been telling since Blurryface. Because of this, it became an important song to many people, and also at some point a leaked version of the song went very viral on TikTok. And so for a while now, several months in fact, the song has been trending on social media and been a primary topic of conversation and discussion within the fanbase and the 21pilots community. And so while I did speculate that 21pilots might never release this song on streaming services, a part of me definitely did realize that it probably was going to be the best move for them. And I think given the circumstances, what they came up with was the best solution to the problem that they found themselves in. The problem being that they released a track as an exclusive additional purchase digital download track. They paywalled it, they made it limited time, and they certainly wouldn't want to punish the people who spent their money to buy that track by just simply releasing it on streaming services for no additional cost a couple of months later. So what they did instead was create an alternate version of the song, an edited mix, while the full-length unedited version of the song exists only for those who purchased it, and of course, I guess there are all the leaks available at this point anyway. But alongside the announcement that they would be putting out an edited mix of Drag Path, they also announced the release of a music video to accompany it. And this, of course, sparked intensive speculation for about 24 hours from the time of the announcement to the time of the video's release about what the video would actually entail. I myself put out a video yesterday morning going through and discussing a number of these different theories and possibilities, but at some point later in the day, as I sat with it and thought about it more, it crossed my mind that most likely this was going to end up being an animated video, mainly due to one line that Tyler dropped in the teaser for this. That coupled with the fact that this is somewhat of an unplanned release, this doesn't seem like something they planned to do way back when they were developing Breach and planning out all the music videos for that saga. And so they wouldn't want to do a rushed lore video because the lore is very important. And so they wouldn't want to put out something that doesn't have a lot of thought into it. And it also wouldn't make sense to really do a proper lore video, given that the lore has ended in City Walls. Really, the only thing that I could see them doing with the lore, and I still think this would have been cool to do, would be a visual recap of everything that we saw from Heavy Dirty Soul to City Walls. But what they did release was this animated video, which in many ways reminded me of the video that they put out for Christmas Saves the Year a couple of years ago. That one, I believe, was a claymation video and a commission which the band requested from this particular artist. In this case, this is more of a puppet-based stop motion, and it's also from an existing short film that was released around 15 years ago at this point. So the video opens actually with a portion of live action footage before launching into the stop motion portion, and then it actually ends with some live action footage as well. It's a very interesting dynamic where there's sort of the real world and then the fantasy world. The real world is live action, the fantasy world is stop motion. It's very cleverly done. It's interesting that the song opens with the opening part of City Walls, which is also a portion that was played at the end of the Paladin Straight music video way back in 2024. So if you really wanted to, you could actually stitch this music video right onto the end of that music video. And with that in mind, with the ending of Paladin Straight in mind going into City Walls, remember what sat between those two music videos that was sort of a step away from the story for a moment, without actually being a step away from the story, but it broke up the continuous narrative that we were getting. That's the music video for The Contract. And that video plays upon a similar structure to this video. There we start with the story, we have them in the tower, then it goes into Tyler's mind and into this weird fantastical world, the void, right? And then at the end it jumps back into the real world, you know, the Dima world, the Dima narrative, where they're back in the tower facing each other, which then of course leads us into City Walls. So that's just one of kind of many similarities and references that you can find between this video and things that 21pilots have done in their own visual mediums. And I'll talk more about the possible implications of that after we've taken a look at some of the key moments from this video that I wanted to highlight. This is the title card for the video. As you can see, it's sort of stylized like the Robot Voices title card was. And then we have the Clancy logo, and also one that we haven't really seen since the Trench era, which is often connected to the Jumpsuit music video, but really is just an overview image of the world and landscape of Trench. So this image here with this giant glowing white moon that's huge, strangely large, right, looming very large in this landscape, is again, it's another similarity to the music video of The Contract, where we have that big white light shining in the background of many of the shots, and also plays a role in the flashbacks to Jumpsuit that we get in the music video for City Walls, which again, very strangely flashbacked to a moment of Jumpsuit where it took place at night, as opposed to the actual moments from Jumpsuit which took place during the day, at least from what we saw, the visuals that we were given for that music video. Then we're brought into a forest, and certainly the imagery of forest or trees or things like that has been very prominent throughout the entirety of 21 Pilots' discography, and I at one point even speculated that the story was going to end in a forest because of how prominent that imagery was. We have songs like Forest, we have songs like Trees, we have the imagery of the treehouse, and so on. You found me. This shot here at first made me think we were going to get a 3 lights are lit, the 4th one's out moment, but then we continue watching and we see that multiple lights are lit and none of them are out. So, never mind. So then we get into this whole portion here where this rabbit is sitting at a table with, it seems to be some of his older relatives. It's almost a coming of age moment in some ways. He definitely seems very out of place in this world that he's entering. This world of manhood, perhaps, but he's trying to fit in and trying to adapt to it. And that whole portion extends for a good chunk of the video, and it's one which I don't know if I have a ton of understanding yet of the message that it's trying to convey. I think there's some interesting significance. There's some scenes with a book that they're showing him images of and things like that. But it's a portion that I want to sit with and kind of understand more before I try to speak on what I think is happening here, or what the importance is of a sequence like that. And so because of that, I'm going to jump ahead towards the end of the video when we see a monster starting to creep up on the setting of this lovely family scene. Then the monster comes in and viciously attacks the entire family. There's a severe shift in tone from the quiet family scene that we got, and then this violent, scary attack. This is just one of the many shots in this video that I think is brilliantly filmed. We have this kind of natural spotlight on the character created by the extinguishing of all the other lights around except for this one that's still left swinging, right, and flickering, and creates this natural look. I mean, it's a beautiful shot in the cinematography. It stylistically does something very interesting for the video, but at the same time doesn't feel forced, because it makes sense why a moment like this could be happening naturally. It's great. I'm still trying to figure out the importance of this moment here, of that shot. I mean, certainly as we get through the next couple of shots, we see a number of different out-of-place items, but certainly this particular image here I think is quite interesting. And not only is it interesting, it seems like something that I've seen before, but I can't quite place where I've seen it. So if any of you know what I might be thinking of, let me know. Then we get a shot like that where he trips and falls while he's running away, which again is very reminiscent of the Jumpsuit music video. And certainly the whole idea of him being a rabbit, and then we have this monster who just killed a number of people and could very clearly represent death. I think the line from Heavy Dirty Soul obviously comes to mind for everyone. Death inspires me like a dog inspires a rabbit. Brilliant final scene, final moment in this video. Also a great final shot that sort of brings you back in some ways to that moment that I pointed out right at the end of the attack, sort of when the spotlight falls on the rabbit, who's dressed in a very similar fashion and looks very similar to this figure here, standing in his own spotlight. So that's an interesting parallel there. So overall, I think this is a very interesting film. Was it what I expected the video for Drag Path was going to be? No, not at all. In fact, the first couple of times that I watched this video, I thought it really didn't fit the song at all. And in some ways, I still am getting used to having that song in conjunction with this video, with the set of visuals. But it is steadily growing on me, and certainly as a short film in and of itself, I think is really interesting and, like I said, really well done, and there's a lot that I want to kind of sit with and unpack further in that. So if nothing else, I'm grateful to the band for highlighting a film like this and bringing it to our attention. Now, there has been some discussion back and forth online as to whether or not it was a good move on their part to put an already existing video alongside Drag Path instead of having someone create something brand new for that song. And certainly that is what I expected they would have done, and it does strike me as a little odd that they would take and repurpose a video that's been around for so long that someone else created for an entirely different purpose. But at the same time, given that they didn't necessarily have a lot of time to put together something for this song before releasing it on streaming, given that they're trying to kind of take advantage of the moment of the virality of Drag Path, and also it sounds like they're planning on performing Drag Path live in festivals over 2026. Again, making something as a live action music video I think really wouldn't have made sense given their current schedule. They also have a film that's coming out in a week at this point, which Mark is in the middle of doing a press tour for, so they've lost their videographer at this point. And just like with everything else from the band, I do think considerable care and consideration was put into making a decision like choosing to include this video as the video for Drag Path. And the fact that they're referencing back or highlighting a video that was made so long ago around the time when Josh joined the band does make me wonder if they're trying to point us to this video for a reason beyond it just being visually compelling and something that they thought could work with Drag Path. Is there a greater significance to that? Are the different connections that we can see to the lore more meaningful than just interesting connections to the lore? I don't know yet, I don't have answers, but I am curious to look more into this video, find more about the history of this video, and see if there's any way to figure out how much it might have influenced Tyler and Josh as they were telling their own story over the past 10 or more years. So was this video what I expected? No, not at all. Do I think it works with the song? I'm starting to. And do I think it was the right call to make this the video for Drag Path? I think so. But what do you think of the music video, and what other connections to the lore did you see throughout the visuals that I might have missed? With that being said, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like and of course subscribe for more music commentary and analysis.